Welcome to Meeting of the Moms, a place to talk about all the things. I'm Lorna Adams. I'm a wife, mom, and certified life coach. I think being with people makes anything a party. Thanks for coming to ours. I'm here with my good friend Amy. For years, we've spent the early morning hours running and talking together before diving into our days.
Hey, I'm Amy Rasmussen. I'm a teacher by profession, a wife and mother by choice, an optimist by nature, and happy by design. Here at Moms, we believe the world is wide open to all of us and that we have unlimited potential. We're so glad you're here.
So last night, my husband and I are home alone. All of our kids are out of the house for a night. And it is such a weird thing. Typically, we're the ones that go on the trips, or we're the ones gone. We're not the ones left behind. So This has just been such an interesting precursor to what empty nesting will be like. Our house is really quiet. It is too big for two of us. It just is an interesting place to be right this second.
I think we've had a couple nights like that where our kids have been gone to a cousin camp or whatever. But we're not at the stage you are, where you are fully aware that three people are gone, like out of the house gone, and only one person is gone for overnight. But I think that's a good point, where it does seem like everything seems kind of quiet and empty and kind of slow. It's making me think of a time an older lady said something to me like, you know those fingerprints that you're furiously trying to get off the window all the time and you hate? When your grandkids leave, you leave them there. I also think of a Kristina Kuzmic video that she has out, and it's all about how she was told to love every second of motherhood because it would go by so quickly. And it is the funniest video. So Kristina Kuzmic, everyone, love every second of motherhood. And she just goes through a whole bunch of situations where she's like, really, I'm supposed to love this moment of motherhood because I don't. She's just very real about it. But I do think there's something to be said for having a night like you had, and then being able to harness it so that you can, for lack of a better word, I guess, cherish or appreciate or just be mindful and in the moment of those times when your family is together, or when your son, who's the only one left living at home right now, really is there, or when you host a party or whatever. I think it allows a person to be a little bit more present in those moments.
Yeah. I've always known I have wanted to be a mom with kids in our home. Like, it has never, and really up until the last probably 7-ish years, I never even considered what being an empty nester would look like.
Right.
And so, like, little by little, it keeps becoming more apparent. It keeps coming closer, right? It's right in my face now. But I think I have really tried to do that. And I think really once that first daughter left, especially, it has been like, yeah, this is the path that we're on. Okay. And I think I can hold both of the sadness that they're leaving and also the excitement and the joy for what they're encountering. And so that's been kind of interesting too, that I can hold space for both things and truly trying to embrace this phase that I'm in right now, and knowing that empty nesting can be great too. Like, there's a quote, and I can't think of who it is, or even, but the point is, the best is still yet to come. I think embracing where we are and not being, and this is for me, like remembering not to be stuck in but it was better back then, right? Because there still is so much good that can keep coming as we jump into the different phases that are in front of us.
Yep. The thought, I love that you said the thing about being able to hold in both hands. Like, you can hold the sadness and the sorrow of the leaving at the same time that you have the joy of the new phase of the life and the joy about what they're stepping into and the excitement. I remember as my oldest was leaving and people would talk to me, what did I say? The only thing we want even less than for this stage to be happening, that our kids are leaving because we've enjoyed having them here, is for them not to leave and not actually move on and not have that awesome progression and growth right? We want the independence. And I think there's so much value as we are able to grow into that space of being able to hold those multiple emotions at once in our hands, and to realize that sadness is there because we love these people. We love what we've had. And I think it's possible to love what we've had, to appreciate what we've had, to cherish what we've had, to look back on it with some sadness, some happiness, whatever, right? At the same time, being mindful of like enjoying what the present moment is and looking forward to a happier future. So
Yeah.
I guess my thought with the best is yet to come, which I've also heard that maybe like the best is yet to come and the best has already happened and the best is now. And I wonder with that kind of mindset, we can be a lot more present and hold all three time periods at once in our hands, because I think that, at least for me, is where the intersection of joy comes, because it's not really all about just this moment. A lot of it is about all the interweaving of the connections of the three moments, the past, the present, and the now and the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So good. So good.
That's my thought.
Well, and as you're saying that too, I do feel like as we go through life experiences, we are to some extent being prepared for the things that are ahead. And as I've watched some of my kids maturing, growing up and maturing and kind of seeing some of their struggles and then seeing like they're at the place that they need to be when they need to be there. And that has been fun as a mom to be observing that. And then even right now, being able to take that, like I'm being prepared for what else is around the corner that is to come because of what I'm going through right now. And so I think it's all good things that they really are working for us.
Yep. I want to say something about being a grandparent, because I know you're talking about being an empty nester, but I think on the heels of that is becoming a grandparent. And some people don't get to experience that. So my husband and I got married when his youngest brother was 4. So my in-laws were not experiencing the empty nest phase as their oldest got married and they started having grandchildren and stuff. So, but everyone has kind of their unique thing. But for you, given the ages, it is likely that you will hit empty nest at least at the same time or maybe before you start the grandparent phase. But one of the thoughts I have is that as grandparents talk about how awesome that phase is, I don't think it is the same if you never had the children phase, because you realize like, oh, there's so much stuff that doesn't matter as much as we thought it did when we were parents. Or on the other hand, I think you also see how different things you chose to do come out and you see your own children doing them. And some of those things you're like, oh, darn it, they got that for me. But then there's also the things where you're like, wow, that actually sunk in somehow, that actually mattered. And even just, I guess, the most basic thing of I'm watching my kids love their kids and try their best. And I think that is going to be also just a really cool place to be. I know that I'm already starting to experience as I've heard my kids say certain things to each other or to a younger sibling, and or even to me, like, hey mom, I figured this out and I think I'm going to start trying that. And I think that's great. That sounds like something I've been saying for years, but it's okay. You got it from somewhere else. It's just great that you're going to do it. I feel like you have said something similar recently about something like that,
Yes.
where someone shared something with you and you're like, that's awesome. I have been trying to teach you that.
Yes, totally. And really there is something to hearing it from someone else, right? But
Yep.
maybe we were preparing them so then when they heard it from the other source, it just sunk right in. They were just
Right.
they were just primed for it.
We were preparing the soil.
Yes. But I do love that. I love a couple of the points that you just made. I think the idea about going through parenting helps us be better prepared to be grandparents. And I was just talking to a friend just recently, and it's come up 2 different times with this friend, but how we both have kind of chilled out in our parenting. Thinking about how I parented my kids when they were young, I do feel like I was a lot harder on them. And part of me, the truth is though, maybe that's exactly what I needed to do at the time. And that helped set the trajectory for our family. But
Right.
as I do look back, I think, oh, I wish I would have chilled out a little bit more. And I'm glad that I'm at a point now that I see that and I can chill out a little bit more, right? There's still some things that I'm like, yeah, nope, no thanks. I'm not going to chill out
Yeah.
on that. And then there's some that I can. So that's been nice.
So many times the only way to get to where we are now is to have gone through the things.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's how we learn which things we do want to hold the line on and which things we want to chill out about. And
Yeah.
without trying the different things, I think that's the difficulty. We sometimes hold ourselves to a high expectation of knowing things before we can know them. And so, like, I totally get it. I'm in the same boat sometimes. I'm like, oh, I wish I had learned that sooner or I'd known that better. But what I can do is do better now that I know better,
Yeah.
and or do differently now that I know differently. Maybe that's
Yeah.
even a better way to say that. And what's cool is that our kids, from generation to generation, each generation learns some things and they make some adjustments. And some things that were not natural for our parents maybe are more natural for us that are good things, right?
Yeah.
Probably also some not so good things. And then our kids just get that baseline. And so what's not natural for us is now natural for them. And it just kind of keeps growing. So I
Yeah.
like that too, to remember it's a whole human race, a whole generational family thing too.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, and one little parenting tip that I wish I would have held on to or really
Hmm.
grasped probably is that what I do as a parent does not actually determine my worth. I remember people that would cut their own children's hair as their kids were little, and I did not dare do that. And I think
I
I
did.
had girls though, so it felt
I
a
know.
little scarier.
I know. You can't just buzz it if you mess up. Yes, I totally agree.
So I feel like I was very self-conscious about even trying to cut their hair. And there was a point in time after they'd grown a little bit, and probably as I was, so I have three girls and a boy. And so probably as I was cutting my son's hair,
Right.
I remember consciously thinking, I wish I would have just tried it with my girls. That when they were little was absolutely the time that I could have tried it and
Right.
just see. And yeah, I can still call and get somebody else to fix it up or whatever, but it could be okay if they have a bad haircut for a little while as I'm learning and
Right.
giving myself some grace, some allowance for that. So that I could be learning and growing even in that area, right? And so
Yep.
I think that was something that I didn't know early on as a parent. And I really did base my worth on how my kids look. What will people think of me? I have to make sure I do it this way or that way. And now I'm like, everyone's trying. Everyone's trying, and it's totally fine. Good job, mom, that you tried cutting their hair and maybe it didn't turn out the way you want. Way to go. Way to try. I'm all about
Right.
the trying now.
Right. Right. Well, and I think what the thing that I'm kind of pulling out of this too is it's not so much about like every mom should try and cut their kids' hair. It's okay to decide what you do and what you don't do. But at the base of that for you, what you've uncovered and shared today is that there was just a lot of not being okay with where you were or an okay with the learning phase, right? And so I think that's really cool that now you're able to see like, oh, I want to be okay with the learning phase because you're still learning. You're still going to go into grandparenthood and being an in-law and all those things. You're learning how to be a parent of adult children. So at whatever point we learn that in the various things, I think it's worth learning that it's okay for us to not do things perfectly. I've told my kids over the years, and a kind of fun thing I've said to them is, look, this is the first time I have ever had a child this age, and this age. So I know some things and I'm making decisions based on that, but I'm also going to learn a lot of things. So if we can keep open communication, we will do a lot better because I can't guarantee you the perfect mom.
Yeah.
And some people hear me say that and they're like, you told your kids what? But I've told them that from a young age. And we've kind of tried to work on that, not from the point of like, I don't know anything I'm doing, but instead, like, you don't totally know how to be an 8-year-old. I don't totally know how to be the parent of an 8-year-old. So let's kind of work together and progress together. But that isn't to say that when I have like messed up my kids' hair, especially as they get older, that I'm not like, oh my gosh, you cannot go out of the house like that. When they were younger, I didn't care so much. They're little, they're cute because they're little, you know what I mean? They don't have the embarrassment of like, yeah, my mom cut my hair. It was bad. But I've had a few of those with my teenage boys, and sometimes they're just really cringy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it.
Well, and I really do love that idea of telling your kids. I feel like I probably have heard it from you, Amy, over all the
Oh,
years of parenting about like I know I'm not a perfect parent, but I'm trying and I love you. And even I feel like there was a conversation that I had recently with one of my kids, and they said something about something that they don't have to be perfect because they know I haven't been perfect and I don't
oh,
expect that of
nice.
them and I'm not expecting that of myself. And I think that's super valuable too, right? We want our kids to know we love them and we want them to keep trying. And if we don't try, if we don't put ourselves out there, then we don't learn and grow. And
Right.
that's what we want to be doing. We want to be improving. And so a bad haircut can actually help us get to a better haircut. And maybe it's a
Right.
one step forward, two step back sometimes, right?
Yes,
As the
yes.
teenagers and whatever. But I think there's still so much value in that, which I do appreciate.
Yeah. I want to say
Um,
one other thing about what your child told you. What I love about that too is that even through your time of maybe like looking back, you're like, oh, I wasn't confident enough to sit in the learning phase or whatever. But they just shared with you that one of the things they've learned from you is it's okay to show up before I'm perfect, to show up before I'm good at something. And I think that's a really valuable lesson for all of us. And I think that's the thing. It's just that if we are not going to show up until we're highly skilled at something, then we're not going to show up at all. And I think sometimes just in our United States culture, our American culture, we hear all the time, go big or go home. And I think what we need to hear more often is just show up. Like it starts there. And I think we need to hear both, right? There's a time to say like, go big or go home. But a lot of times you can't even go big if you don't show up. So let's just start with the showing up. Let's just start with being okay, being bad at something while we learn.
Totally. Well, and I think this podcast is a perfect example, right? We have talked about one of my philosophies that I've learned over the last few years is B- work is enough. B- is passing. If you get a B- in a class at school, you're passing. Like you're doing better than average, right? And so even that concept of let's provide this podcast as a B- work or better. Let's do that with life. Like B- is totally okay. And B- means we tried. We put ourselves out there. We learned some things. So let's go with B- work or better.
That's right. I'm on board. B- work or better. It's seriously our mantra lately for all of you listeners.
Thanks for coming to Meeting of the Moms. We hope it made your load a little lighter. We'd love to hear what's on your mind. Send your celebrations, takeaways, and suggestions for future topics to momswithamyandlorna@gmail.com.
If you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. If this isn't the right fit for you, we wish you well on your journey. Until next time, I'm Lorna Adams.
And I'm Amy Rasmussen. See you next week at Moms.